Hello and welcome. My name is Ali Goff. I am the owner and founder of Goff Legal. And today I'm going to be going over a few of the steps that you need to take after you've signed your estate plan. So, first, a lot of times we talk about funding because a trust only works, an estate plan really only works if there's a few more key components. So, one of those things is to fund your estate plan or your trust with your assets. So, that means you would actually take your certification of trust to your banker, to your financial institution, scan it, upload it, whatever they require, and actually change the title of your accounts from you as an individual or a married couple to you as trustees or trustee of your trust. Next, you want to check all of your accounts that have beneficiaries. This usually includes IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, pension plans, if you have some leeway in the beneficiary area there, and make sure that those are correct. A lot of times those are outdated after we update your plan because you might want those to run through your trust. You might not. It's really important to check your documents and talk to your attorney to find out exactly what your specific beneficiaries should be on your accounts to make sure that they all work in alignment with each other instead of in contradiction, because there's a lot of lawsuits that are involved in mismatched beneficiaries and things that didn't work out. Next, if you have real property, you will contact your insurance provider, tell them you have a trust, and ask them to add your house as an additional insured. And that's just one extra level of protection to make sure if there is a lawsuit or something happens, that your house is, as the trust owner, right? The trust is also protected and is also gets a lawyer. Anywho, if you don't have a trust, no worries. You probably got healthcare documents, in which case you need to make sure that your provider has a copy of both your healthcare directive and your HIPAA releases, your authorization to release information. So, depending on where you are receiving medical care, you will take that to your doctor, we'll take it to member services, wherever they require that. Make sure it gets into your file so that anytime you are checked into any one of those facilities for any reason, they have your documents on file. It's also not a bad idea to just have a copy in your glove box that you can take with you or stuff in your purse in case you're headed to the doctor. And then also, I would always give your first in line at a minimum a copy of your healthcare directive so that if they needed to show up at the hospital and advocate for you, that they actually had copies of those documents very easily accessible. This also ties in with the next thing you'll want to do, which is to inform anyone who you've nominated that you've nominated them. That doesn't necessarily mean that they'll accept the role or that they have to serve, but you want to make sure that the people who are especially first in line know that you have nominated them. And if something happens to you, either because of catastrophic injury or because of the unexpected passing, that they should know, they should look for your documents and be prepared to take some action or figure out what the next steps are. I do highly recommend you actually perform this step before you nominate them. That's always not is not always an option. So at least at a minimum, have that conversation later. One of the things I always recommend that my clients do is have some sort of dinner or conversation. Maybe it's a Zoom meeting now with specifically the people who are going to watch your kids and your healthcare agents to make sure that they understand when they're your agent what that means for you. What decisions would you like them to make? Really, really important at dinner. I call it a death dinner, actually, in case you're wondering, which is why I call it a dinner. It doesn't have to be death dinner. You have to be so dramatic about it, but it's really good to have the conversation with the people who would be making really important decisions for you. You're also going to want to make sure that your documents are both accessible and safe. So put them in a place where someone could find them or at least could get access to them. If you have them in a safe in your home, that's fine. Make sure someone either knows that they're there or has some sort of way to get in, a key or the code, someone you really, really trust, right? To have that information there. If it's in a safe deposit box at the bank, again, not a problem, but you're going to have to tell someone, probably your first in line or a few people who are close to you, my documents are at this banking institution. Here's the box. You can find the key here. And then if they needed something happened to an emergency, they could go get your documents. I also recommend if you've had documents for a while, or if it's been a year, 5, 10, always a good idea to take a look at your documents and review them. So just because you've got an estate plan doesn't mean, poof, I'm done. It does mean, whew, I'm taken care of. I can let that weight off my shoulders. But make sure you do review it. Tax time is kind of a good time because you're sort of in your finances, you're looking at things. Maybe when you meet with your financial advisor, it's a good idea to at least look at the summary of the people you have listed and maybe the summary of who your beneficiaries are. It doesn't have to take a ton of time. You don't necessarily need an attorney to do that for you, but it's a good idea to make sure that the people you've nominated are still the people you want to serve. And then if you're working with our office, we've actually provided a checklist for you. It is a list, little check boxes, go through, make sure you've done all the things I've talked about here, probably a few others. And then there is a funding instruction letter that you can follow. So if you do get new assets, it's always important to make sure that they're connected to your estate plan in some way, so you can follow those instructions. For current clients, I always offer a free 15-minute check-in if there have been changes to find out if you actually need to update your plans or not. Oftentimes we talk and I go, my plan's really good. Just make sure you fund that bank account into your trust and contact your life insurance agent to make sure your beneficiaries are done. And then my job's done. Free 15 minutes, little peace of mind always goes a long way. So if we can answer any questions for you or help you along with this process, please reach out. It is gofflegal.com and our email. Oh, that's fun. Email is info@gofflegal.com. All right. Thanks so much.